All right. Welcome back, everyone who is watching. All potentially four of you. Last time we left off, or rather, we are back with the Cryptic Cabal for Monster Monday Season 2, Session 22, Boogaloo. Last time we left off, the party had a heroic and grand ending as fire came raining down from the skies, comets driving them into the ground, lightning striking at their backs. As the army of Thrycreen managed to corner and surround our heroes, Gygax, Tunathy, Tumberton, and Doots. We would unfortunately watch as one by one they would drop, though not without killing a good fair few on their own, and watching as multiple rounds of arrows would just simply bounce off or manage to be dived around. As the party would hold their own, Vicaret and Little D would continue their escape, trying to avoid the massive army of Thrycreen that was chasing and trying to focus this group down after the troll army had broken. With the party being split, Vicaret and Little D would continue to follow after the large gathering of trolls, continuing on basically into the night, going east as far as they could go, while the others managed to stay behind and draw the fire of the army for as long as they could. Though perishing in the end, those who had seen the sacrifice and survived the battle will be singing of their escapades and accomplishments for time, millennia in truth. Though the bards that Doots had left behind have yet to finish their song, it is currently in the works in the background. With that, between the two sessions, we took some downtime for those who are wondering why there was no episode today. It got posted, or rather, what would be a week, the previous week when this comes out. As the party needed some time to build their characters, come up with some stuff, and get everything squared away. We return as about 6 days have passed, Vicaret. You and Little D, as well as Biggie and Cloudy and the dog yet to be named, have been spending most of your time heading in the same direction. The bards having managed to catch up after about a day and a half of being left behind. Thankfully, their spell seemingly keeping them almost completely quiet, though the bright, shimmering light of their spell quite easy to spot. The group of you, Vicaret, would kind of continue following the path after the army that you could see, chasing them and keeping up on their heels as you could hear the Thrycreen running through the trees, attacking groups of trolls that would end up split off or staying behind or dawdling behind the main army. After a good 6 days of hard marching, you would finally come to the opposite side of this large river where what looks to be a massive mining outpost has been set up just on this side of the river. The river itself almost 100 feet in width, easy and deep enough for whole ships to come swimming through from the ocean itself. The town that's kind of set up around here has been mostly members of Greg's Maratom's court, another world leader that, though you're not very familiar with, what you've been able to gather in the last couple of days is that he's a very wealthy merchant dragon lord from one of the further continents to the east, and his miners have been set up here to mine out most of the cobalt along the river's edge. You, along with the bards and the dog, have kind of been set up alongside with the army that is being led by an individual known as Sen the Red, a well-known and well-respected troll amongst the army who, so from what the rumors amongst the troops have been, managed to fend off a full 4 squads of Thrycreen by himself in hopes to try and save some of the younger trolls that were unfortunately on the front lines.
Mm.
During this time, you've been able to get a bit of a understanding of those who are around the camp, those who work amongst the camp. Seeing a couple of the shops that have kind of got set up amongst Sen's grouping, and the mining town itself. It's been quiet, and you've been able to kind of catch your breath while Little D has been kind of figuring out orders and what to do next. During this time, you've earned about, I'd say, about 10,000 gold pieces in the helping with repairing of items, kind of working with some of the smiths in town that are processing the cobalt and kind of walking them through it. Though not rewarded in any
Okay.
cobalt, you were quite well paid by the locals as you've been doing your time. The two bards seeming to gain a little bit of pocket cash every night themselves at the tavern that you've been kind of staying at. And tavern is a loose term. It's better than a tent like most of the buildings around the town. They're just like chunks of leather that have been set up and draped over heavy logs. The tavern is a few actual logs and some stones, as well as with an actual roof on it. The only place in this town that seems to actually have a decent living space. Um, as you've been spending your time here, you would have on the about the 15th, about 6 days since the incident and the attack has happened. You would hear morning of Little D coming into the tavern, finally looking like he is dressed in proper uniform, cleaned up, scrubbed, wearing a new weapon on his hip, and actually looks ready to go. As he comes walking in to the room that you, along with the two bards and the dog, kind of share. It, Though the rooms are mostly typically kind of rented out to multiple people, since you have a big enough group, you've been able to secure one of the back rooms to yourself, giving you a little bit more privacy as Little D comes in. As he kind of opens the flap that acts as a door, seeing the multiple bunks and seeing you kind of working away at something, kind of working at your kits, cleaning up the gear, and getting, kind of knowing that for the last couple of days that the army could be moving out at any point, that this Thrycreen army could come over the waters and attack. Little D kind of looks at you with a bit more of a smile on his face for the first time compared to the grimace he's had for the last couple of weeks, or last week. As
Yeah.
he looks at you, he goes, I've received good news from Sen. It looks like we may have a plan on where we're going. We're heading to the Samog clans. The Rakshasa have agreed to house the army and allow any trolls who wish to settle to stay for the time being. I think the most of us are going to either head out. Those few that are staying behind plan to invest in a new project that's coming up. Some giant wall that'll be put along the entirety of the riverbank to keep out these Thrycreen forces to hopefully secure the Toth. But the good news for you that I figured I came back to share is I've gotten a letter that Dutz is still alive. I was informed that a he kind of pulls out a letter from his satchel and kind of turns it to show it to you, and you see Dutz's signature on there and his name like written out in common. As he kind of looks at it, as you read it, assuming you can read common.
Yeah, I can read
Oh,
common.
okay. I didn't know if you had anything special with your. I couldn't remember if you had something special that you can only speak common. All right. As you kind of read it, it says, "Dear Cryptic Kabal, I've heard of I understand that the situation is currently dire, but I will soon be joining you all. I hope you understand that it'll take me a moment to get there, but I should be there between the 15th and 16th. I've secured a contact with a potential hiree that we may be bringing on to replace those lost in the battles that we've had."
I would like to voice one concern.
Little D kind of folds the letter up and kind of sets it on the bunk next to you and just nods to go ahead.
Depending on how you feel about Sen, I just want to point out that you are going to try and use a wall to stop Thrycreen, who
Uh,
burrow and jump.
From my understanding, the Dragon Lord or Dragon King, Greg's Maratom, is in charge of the project. He's already signed on multiple nations to invest in the project. Supposedly, more are even supposedly rumored to be signing on at right at this moment. I imagine they're planning to put something deep into the ground and then high above and then guard it. But I don't know much of the specifics other than the supposed it's going to be made of metal and lots of it.
Mm-hmm. I see. I just figured that I should point this out. Uh, I know not what resources he has. It appears to be fine, given this camp. But um,
Kind of nods at that and goes,
it
"Oh, good."
it would be better to spend the resources to break the hive rather than weather the hive.
You kind of see a
If
slight
With
smile
what
on his
manpower?
face at that.
yeah, I will start working on something,
He nods.
formulating plans.
Yes, he looks at you and goes, "I understand the concern, but it's not our responsibility, and Sen won't be staying here for it. This dragon merchant wishes to invest the money to take on these creatures. He must have some sort of plan. He's already managed to take down both the Toth and the his neighbors. From my
Hmm,
understanding, he is a leader far more capable than any others we've seen so far. Though quite offensive on the eyes, I expect he may do great things to come."
I see.
And
I'll leave it at that.
all right. He kind of look at you, turns, and starts to step out, petting the dog on the head for a moment as the dog seems to bark and follow after him. He heads out into the common area of the inn. Are you staying in your room, Vicaret?
Um, no, I'll kind of like take stock of stuff because like I'm probably feeling pretty drained because I've just been doing very boring projects of like repairing gear and stuff like that, which is just like the absolute fucking snooze fest.
Oh, it's also mostly
Um,
mundane gear. You're talking nothing, no plus one, no plus two. This is all like army surplus, cheap leather.
yeah, so I'm not exactly like super jazzed to spend a ton of time in my workshop right now because I don't have any like exciting, fun projects. So, uh, I've probably actually been going to the tavern a lot more than I normally would, just because like I'm gonna level with you as a as someone who makes equipment from an artistic point of view, because as a chaotically aligned creature, it would be more art than science.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just repairing leather sounds fucking ass.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So you're gonna head out to the towards the main room of the inn where the most of the drinking and colorful lot are.
Yeah.
Okay. As you kind of put your put your stuff away that you were working at, and kind of stand up and follow after little D, going out towards the inn. The barkeep and owner of this inn and tavern, called the Troll Blues, is a officer in the Greg's Tom's army named as Jess O'Run. And yes, I will put that name in the chat. Um, he yes. He is a larger looking dragonkin with very dull brown scales. However, it seems that when he moves about, they seem to almost go to a brighter gold shimmer. He is, from what you've gathered, a pretty kind and very open fellow, which is kind of weird given how racist most dragonkin have been in this town. He's one of the few you've met around here that didn't seem at all offended by you and took your money at face value.
That's nice.
As he kind of sees you and Little D coming out, he kind of waves over to you. As you see an individual kind of sitting there with their back turned to you. Dudes, do you want to describe what you look like in the background?
All right, so I do have an image of it. I updated Hero Forge.
So right now, sitting in the chair would be a familiar shape of Doots, pale skin, looking vaguely like an elf, uh, grayish white hair, now wearing white clothes, adorned with purples and the occasional red. Uh, Hearing you come in, will turn to look at you. Same typical or stereotypical eyes, being purely black with glowing white irises, and a new addition. Got a little twisty mustache.
Little D kind of looks at you and
Okay.
smiles and goes, "Ah, dudes, I didn't expect you to be here already." Kind of looks at Vicaret and goes, "Uh, I got to admit, the mustache was that." Kind of looks at Vicaret and goes, "Vicaret, was the mustache part of his the plan? Did he mention? I don't remember that." As he kind of looks at Dudes' mustache and kind of like stares at him with a bit of a, almost looking you up and down, giving an appraising look for a moment, Dudes.
Oh, uh, sorry. Dude, sorry. It's just something I'm trying out. If it's that much of an issue, I can just and I'll snap my fingers and make it disappear.
Little D,
Bro's finally changing his facial features after
Little D
so
just
long.
kind of looks at you and then looks at Vicaret and shrugs and goes, "I don't have an opinion. I just didn't think you were gonna go down in a blazing glory and then come back with a mustache."
Ah,
Mm.
yeah, that. Um, I'm gonna be honest with
Honestly,
you.
it's
I don't recall the death all too much. If you would mind reminding me what happened, if you
ah.
know.
Mm. Well, uh, we all received a message to go to a place and make a final stand, and the general gist of it was, and you'll forgive me for paraphrasing, I am an outsider. Um, the general phrasing was, go here and die and receive a fiery rebirth and basically serve some whatever the voice was, and, or uh, basically die to the Thri-Kreen and not get the rebirth option. As it happens, any kind of deal like that typically is worded in such a way that they neglect to mention the other options. As evidenced by the fact that I'm here and he's here and the bards are here and the dog is here.
The dog looks up very happily, wagging its tail.
I pat the dog on the head.
It seems to
I
immediately
may be a
respond and
horrible
say,
alien bug. Yeah, I may be a horrible alien bug monster, but I have a heart. It just happens to be like 7 feet long and more of a tube than.
Little D kind of looks, kind of nods along to Vicaret's comments on this and goes, "Yeah, it was. You told us you said you were going to die. I figured, I thought that you guys weren't going to come back. Given," he looks at Vicaret and goes, "We ran and lived, and so we figured your employer was upset with us. At least that's what I assumed, and so he just kept you. But does that mean
Uh,
Gygax and Tun are still, or potentially still alive?"
as far as I know, they are. As to their current whereabouts, I don't know. I do hope to find them again one day.
And looks at you as,
You
"Yeah,
sound different.
if you don't," he kind of nods to that little dude. He goes, "If you don't mind my asking, is it like a side effect of having the like whatever was talking to us no longer backing you, or is it maybe it's the white clothing, but something seems different about you?"
Oh, uh, I think so. I'm still getting used to the new uh body, if I think the proper term is. I believe I was informed I was rebuilt, so it's kind of getting used to. Some things might
Mm.
slightly be different from before, but I trust you, or I assure you, I am still the same dudes that you traveled with.
That's exactly what a fake would
Little
say.
D just kind of shrugs and goes, I mean, if you were rebuilt, I mean, it makes sense given the amount of what we saw. Your group took out an army, by yourselves. Those rocks flying out of the sky. Be honest, I'd be shocked if there was anything left of you to rebuild from. But all right. The letter mentioned, and that you had found someone and met someone. Do you happen to have their name? I'm gonna send you, or Dutes. You during your travel to get here, it wasn't a quick bit of traveling. And when you were kind of going about, you managed to along the beach line as you were kind of scouting and looking for a way over to just really avoid the massive army that it was roaming around and eating everything that it saw. You had seen a ship in the distance, kind of not comfortably making it around the ocean, but somewhat making it. That you managed to hitch a ride with. As you kind of take a second, you remember you left them back at the outside of the city, docking the ship and kind of getting it set up on the coast, where the river was a bit deeper. You remember the individual's name was something Azuris, from what you recall, overall.
Yes, one of the individuals that I came in contact with, who I'm hoping to will eventually accept my offer to join the Cryptic Cabal, was Azuris. He's a captain. Can't recall his ship's name, though.
The Red Lady.
Yes, there you go, yeah. Good.
No, I was going to just say, it comes back to me, the Red Lady.
There it is.
Almost as on point as you say this, you hear the doors that are more kind of roughly kind of just leaned against the two heavy poles that count as the entrance that just block enough to keep the wind out, kind of open up. And Wara, would you actually like to describe yourself as you walk in? May have lost Wara. I see the. Oh, no. There we go. Maybe.
I walk in,
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
and everyone sees this. 6'2", humanoid, lion-looking head. I look around. I see Dutes. I walk straight to him.
Pair of thighs attached that are like fucking barrels attached to a fucking tree trunk.
As you
Sorry, I'm
walk,
just remembering the original image of like the fucking ridiculous thighs that those fucking things have.
he is ripped. I will say, Vicar, as you look over, as you see this individual, he is really well built and strong. Almost as you see the lion's head, the immediate realization, you've seen lions before roaming amongst the territories of the Thrycreen. They're not uncommon, they're just not a very, they're usually on all fours and very strong-like creatures. So as you see this one for a second, almost as if as soon as you see it, the muscles start to grow in size, and immediately you realize this gentleman is strong. As they walk in, Wara, in the last day that you've been here, roughly, you have made contact with the owner of the inn, loosely put here, called Troll Blues, named Jez Orun. That was a noted contact similarly to your background. I won't go too far into. They were supposedly had a lead on a potential group that was looking. It would be great for looking into what you are, and could be a potential help. And had mentioned meeting him, basically roughly around today, at some point. As you see the larger dull brown dragon kind of standing there, as he kind of waves you over to the bar. He kind of pipes into the little greet between Little D, Vicarette, the dog, and Dutes, and goes, Little D, this is, I mentioned another guy when you guys first got here that was looking for work, as he kind of points over to Wara, and he goes, this is him. As you all turn to see Wara kind of, again, having walked through the door and coming over to you lot, and coming to a seat at the bar.
Ah, it's nice to meet you. My name is Dudes.
Yes, dudes, I am
I
aware
have
of who you are. I have seen your actions as well as the Cryptic Cabal's actions at the castle siege many moons ago. I was
Ah,
working there for Utham, actually. And I've been informed that you might be hiring, and I'm looking for a group of trustworthy, notable, notoriety-seeking individuals such as yourselves, and was wondering if I could join you.
well, I would glad to have you on the team. How well can you swing that sword?
Let's say that I stand, many have fallen.
That's what I like to hear. Welcome to the Cryptic Cabal. I'll hold
Why,
out my
thank you,
hand.
sir. I grab his hand and shake it, not crushing his hand, but definitely showing my strength.
As you see, a Little D kind of looks over and goes, "Oh, all right. Name's Little D." As he holds out his hand as well.
I shake his hand as well, showing my strength as well.
He seems to match you as for it.
We stand there for a minute, shaking hands.
I am Vicaret. I make things.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Vicaret.
I extend my metal hand.
I shake it,
You see
not
it.
crushing it.
You feel the warmth of the metal. It's just warm enough to where it actually feels like it has something kind of there, like it's physically actual flesh. As it pulls away, it seems to move almost perfectly. Although you see, it is solid metal. Little D kind of looks between a lot of you and goes, "Well, if you've got your other member, you might want to go and introduce him, or I guess we should go see him. Dude, your two bards, Biggie and Cloudy, are in the back room sleeping still. They've been working on a song for your guys' sacrifice since we got here. I fear the dog, though, has taken quite a liking to Vicaret, and won't seem to leave." He kind of looks at Vicaret up and down, and you can see a quizzical look on his face, and goes, as he kind of settles on something, and goes, "It alone."
Ah, yes, Biggie and Cloudy. I I do look forward to hearing that tale.
Kind of nods and goes, "Well, if you want to speak with him, they're back there. But if the getting's good, I think we should meet with this captain you mentioned. Like I said, I was telling Vicaret earlier, I don't expect Sen to stay here for much longer. Given all the commotion and all the troops moving around, the trolls are feeling quite uneasy around these parts. So it's best we either move on before the Thori can get through these parts, or, well, if you lot plan to stay here, I'm going to go with Sen. I don't feel like being chowed on, and I still have to go find my father, as all I was told is he vanished in a big gleaming of light."
Hmm.
Yeah, already got chewed on.
I
I
am
don't want it to happen again.
I am not yet ready to break these hives, but soon they will know. I tap on the table with my metal hand.
As you do, you can see just like a slight look over from Jesser on the as he's kind of like cleaning a glass, and seeing that you're not asking for a drink, kind of goes back to cleaning the glass that he was.
I
Yeah,
will,
it's clear that I don't understand the social connotation of what I have just done. I just did it.
Yep, you're good.
I'm gonna stand up, and if the party will follow me, I'll take us to our other dear friend, who we will be meeting soon.
Please lead the way.
All right. As you kind of start heading out, going through the doors, or what counts for doors, they seem to kind of take a minute to get closed back up, as you have to kind of almost not muscle them, but jam them into each other as much as possible to get them to hold. After a few moments, though, as you lot start to kind of head down the main street, the smell of heavy, just bo, heavy sense of coal and the sounds of fire or of like metal smashing on metal is almost everywhere. The town is small, like I mentioned. Tents mostly set up. Many of the people here seem to be more just miners and tradesmen who work with metal. Not much of a military force until almost today, with the starting to see guards and such patrolling amongst people in armor coming up and showing about the town and settling the small minor crimes that were popping up. Sen's army is kind of what looks to be posted about a half a mile north of the town, with a lot of clearing cut away and trees kind of cut up. No real tents that are set up, as the army itself is mostly ragtag individuals that were in what little military uniform and or armor that they had when they were running. But as
Yeah, I imagine a lot of the trolls look shell shocked, considering what happened.
Yeah, from what you've seen in town, it's been very quiet. The trolls are, what you can gather and what most of the locals have stated, a very militaristic species. They're not accustomed to being defeated, which is what seems to be the general belief amongst the Dragonkin, and the few slaves that seem to be kind of let loose to walk freely amongst the town as they work. It's though the miners look many of the dragonkin, kobolds, and kind of mixed bags of a few races that are definitely clearly slaves seem to give a wide berth to you lot. The town seems generally jolly at first. The sounds of like joking and laughing can be pretty much heard all throughout. As you kind of head south instead of going north towards the camp. Heading a bit further south, it takes about another hour outside of town before you see the large ship that's kind of has a heavy metal anchor kind of shoved or pulled off to the side onto the beach, holding it there as it lightly drifts on the water. Azurus, would you like to describe what you and your ship look like? As I imagine you'd be kind of standing on land while Crump is kind of on the ship.
So we'll start off with the description of the ship. The ship is it's a very large ship compared to like a medium-sized creature. It is a ship that looks like it was built by giants for giants. But that makes it so that for large and medium characters, it's a pretty decently sized ship. There is a ballista on each side of the vessel, both port and starboard, with a catapult in the center on a platform that looks like it could rotate and move around. The vessel itself is mostly no real paint job on it, except for a thin red stripe going along the railings of the vessel. The topsails that are currently all tied up are also red, and there is a flag up at the top which depicts a black flag, but with a woman covered in blood.
Okay. How many masts does it have?
3 masts. There are 2 large masts in the back and 1 smaller mast in the front.
Okay. Is it like
It is a couch with 3 masts.
Okay.
It's definitely like a more long and thin than a short and fat ship.
Yeah, I was picturing like a trireme.
So, anything else?
No.
Cool. And for Azorus himself, he is what was his height? A 10.5-foot tall gentleman with some very nice, pretty decent clothes. We're talking like a full-on captain's outfit with epaulettes, a nice big hat with colors of deep red, yellow, white, a very fine outfit. As he turns around, you can see that his skin is blue, has a goatee, and a very similar mustache as what Doots had when he was walking in. That he got rid of because it's the same one I chose for him. He is sporting a cloak and a scimitar. He has a bandolier of darts on his chest, and you can see around his neck is a slight glint of a blue gem. And I will go ahead and send the Hero Forge
Cool.
of him to the chat.
Yeah, I also posted what a couch looks like. So, for Vikret, for reference for size, this is considered a couch. Is just basically a long ship with he's got 2 decks. So he's got the top deck and then his cargo deck. In this case, it's just a ship designed for huge creatures. So whereas normal creatures who go on the sea and the boats you would be vaguely familiar with would be about quarter of the size of the one you're looking at. This thing is massive because it is definitely designed for huge creatures. So,
Okay.
but that would be the picture is roughly what they look like. Apparently, I had to look it up too. So,
Yeah.
he also has a cargo amount and how many crew members to run it and everything. So,
I've got the list of things I need.
But yeah, as you see this, Azura's kind of waving you all over, saying, "Doots." Doots, did you re-put your mustache on? I assume.
Oh yeah. Whenever I relax, the mustache will pop back out.
Yep. As the group kind of heads over towards them, you see as Azura's kind of stands there by holding the anchor, making sure it kind of is steady, checking to make sure it's sunk into the ground enough so that the ship doesn't start to drag away. Azurus, as they come walking up, you recognize Doots. The others are complete strangers.
Ah! Doots, it appears that you have brought upon strangers. Please. Who are they?
These are the members of the Cryptic Kabal. I, of course, myself. I then point over to Wara. This is Wara, the most recent member.
Good
Over
day,
to Vikret.
sir.
This is Vikret.
Greetings.
How well do you fare on the sea?
What? The water? I point to the water.
I look
have
at
been
you
aboard
confounded.
ships many a time.
There's the most blank stare on Azor's face right now. I was like, did I not just say? Yes. The water. The big water.
Never been.
The water that spans the planet.
Never been.
Dudes, are you really sure that,
Little D kind of pipes up and goes, I'm similar to Wara. I've done my time on ships, but not something I personally trade by.
Well, that's why I'm also here. Not only do I need some fine combative persons to be a part of the crew, but I need some fine, sturdy workers to work the sails and all things like that. So, if you don't mind me, unless you know of any folk who'd be willing to take upon a job. I assume there's many a folk around these parts that might be looking for a way out of town. Crop!
I am new to the area. I do not know many people, so I cannot recommend anyone.
Crop, get down here!
You see as a 3 foot, though with 9 foot energy. Or at least he thinks so. A 3 foot bright blonde furred, but also an orange skin that slightly is just kind of bioluminescent enough to be seen through the fur. comes kind of running down the anchors, wearing nothing but what looks to be a common merchant's outfit. His little hair or his fur on his head kind of swayed off to the side as he seems to smile. A very bright orange face and very bright blue eyes as he comes climbing down and goes, I am the best of sailors. I am the Crump. What can I do for you, everyone?
I
Meet.
do not resist the urge whatsoever to reach out and check to see if the hair on the top of the head is real.
He does not get within arm range as he stays on top of the anchor, kind of standing there, towering over you all to look down on you.
Crump, I need you to go on shore and find some fine sailors aboard our vessel.
I am.
Two of us was not enough.
Kind of nods and goes, I will find the best of sailors, the only sailors that are fit enough to sail on this ship, and they will work for free, because I'm going to make the town pay for it, as he kind of jumps down, kind of climbs down and turns and starts running off.
What is that thing?
That thing is Mr. Crump. He is my first mate.
I meant on his head. Is it like a... No, it looked alive. Does he wear living...
You do see Vicar as he runs away. It sways in the wind almost slightly unnaturally, and it looks like it's almost starting to take off a little bit off of his head before it kind of pops back down.
I never asked.
What was he cursed with prestidigitation?
Anyway, so I hear you need transportation, and I'm willing to offer you transportation to wherever you need to go. However, I need to set some things right here. I will join you upon your adventures on land, but my crew won't. I will not be asking them to put themselves in danger on land, because I don't want them getting in my way. When it comes to tasks on land, I expect that we will all be paid equally. However, when it comes to tasks upon the open sea, I have many in expense. I have to keep a ship and crew fed and running. Are you familiar with how shares on a ship, a vessel such as this, works?
How many people do you have on the ship?
Excluding Doots, 2. That's why.
No, I mean like to feed. How many mouths to feed?
Excluding Doots, 2.
Oh.
It is currently just me and Crump who are official members of this fine vessel, which is why I just need to go get some more. I am capable of feeding up to 30.
30 is the limit. That's a little harder, but okay.
I have good news for you.
I only need
do
15.
not need to be fed.
That lifts a weight off my shoulders. Wara, was it? Fine meeting. But I need at least a crew of 15 to functionally operate my ship without being absolutely exhausted every single waking moment of the day. So that's why I've sent Crump out there to go find some well-bodied men. Or women. It doesn't really matter. But I, of course, am going to need officers aboard my vessel. Different kinds of officers get different shares of prize. Base crew get 1 share. Skilled crew members get 1 1/4 share. The important members, like the master salesman, the boatswain, and the surgeon, get 1 1/2 shares. The quartermaster gets 2 shares of the prize, and the captain gets 4. So
I am
whatever.
skilled at maintenance of gear, general mathematics, engineering,
Can you fix a boat?
repairs of any variety.
Can you fix a boat?
Hmm?
Yes, I can fix
No,
anything,
that
given enough time and resources.
that is an excellent thing to hear, because I too know how to fix my fine vessel. But with all of my other duties, it'd be nice to have someone do it for me. So, going across the board, Vicarette, would you mind being my boatswain? This will
Yeah, I don't know
entitle
what that
ye to 1.25 shares upon prizes.
was.
Sorry, 1.5 shares. That's my bad.
So long as you're willing to pay for the upgrades to the boat.
That is why I get 4 shares, because most of the ship upkeep comes from my
Excellent.
pocket.
Good. I'm going to hand you a list of ingredients. If you get me the ingredients and pieces, I might be able to solve your food problem more economically in the long term.
I have 2 boxes of preserving. It gives me each box gives me 15 well, 15 people's worth of rations every day. So I can indefinitely feed up to 30 people a day.
Ah, you have already talked to an artificer about such things. Good, good.
It's basic sailing knowledge. You need to keep your men fed.
But they only gave you rations. I'll have to fix that. We will eat like kings.
Hmm.
A healthy meal keeps the workers
It's
longer.
It is healthy meals. I assure you, these are going to be. I would not want to give my men food that will not sustain them. The only thing that it doesn't
No.
produce is alcohol, but I do not permit being drunk on my vessel nonetheless. Every man, woman who serves has equal share to any alcohol or food seized from vessels, but they must be limited, for I will not have drunkards aboard.
All right.
All right, let's see. Doots, I know you are the leader of this group. On land, I will follow your orders, but on sea, you must understand that I know the best when it comes to at least actions. I will listen to what you have to say, but when we're out at sea, I recommend you let me take hold. Nonetheless, what can you do, Doots? I know we've traveled for a bit, but you are mostly a guest aboard and not really doing the day to day.
Well, I'm a traveling bard. I can tell stories and keep morale high with song.
Hmm. Well, I guess I could give ye. Can't exactly give you an officer position for being a shanty man.
Yeah.
How about combative wise? How good are you?
Uh, since my recent adaptation, I've gotten better at combative means.
How
I'm
so?
now
I need specifics, man. If I'm gonna give you an officer position, I'm sorry, you can't be floating around like this. You don't have to tell me every wake in detail, but I need to make sure if I give you the role of arcanist, you can pull your weight.
I am now an arcane caster.
What can you do?
Uh, my most prominent spell. I'm gonna cast Eldritch Blast into the sky.
Little
And
D
that's
kind of pipes up and goes, "You made a deal with a creature while you were dying?"
Less of a deal and more of an arrangement.
There you go. That's what I needed to see. I needed to see combat ability. Okay, here's what I can give you. I can make you an arcanist. That is among the skilled crew members, which will leave you at a 1.25 share. Not as much as a boatswain or of that nature, but is still more than your regular crew member.
Okay.
As for you, Aura, you seem to be quite the athletic and physical type. How good are you in a scrap? If I need you to board a vessel.
Point me in the direction, and I will jump. Many have died by this sword in hand.
I like your brass. Militant. Kind of the same as an Arcanist, but just the more physical type. Same pay, a share and a quarter.
I request 1.5, as I do not require sustenance. And I only need 2 hours of sleep.
It ain't about the food, my man.
I can pull longer guard. And I can train those that need training.
People get paid based off of the responsibility, not of what they save. The boatswain holds more responsibility than a militant. If I don't have one of those, my ship sinks. If I don't have a militant, well, then it's just up to me to train the men. I believe you to be a boon.
I also can heal
But
people.
I also need to make sure that I have enough funds myself to keep this ship in order.
Well, as I was saying, I can also heal people.
How good are you at healing?
Decent. Not perfect.
Could you be
I
a
can...
surgeon if need be?
No, that I could not do.
Then
I can
if you don't
basically
do,
heal 2 people a day
Hmm.
from wounds. And if there are 3 that are sick, I can cure their disease a day.
How about this? We'll start you with the share and a quarter. Since I've never seen you operate, I believe you to be a strong fighter. You look it. But until I see you do what you claim to do, I ask that we keep it at a normal rate. And if I
Very
see
well.
you do good, we'll talk about raising it.
I
All right.
agree to these terms.
I'm gonna use telepathy here and talk to the lion guy in his brain, and I'm going to say to him, "This is Victor. I'm talking to you telepathically. If you wish to have the surgeon position, I may be able to help, but we'll have to come to a deal for that. Loose one. A loose deal. Nothing too binding. I don't like contracts."
I look at Vicaret and slightly shake my head no. But I nod.
As you wish.
And in my mind, I say, thank you for the offer, though.
Mhm. Very well.
So, Miss, I look at Little D. Will ye be signing on, or are you going to be staying here at port?
He kind of shakes his head no and goes, I'm not part of your organization. I don't serve the Cryptic Cabal. He looks over at Dutes and goes, and to be honest, there are some things about the water that are just a little too fishy for me.
I almost forgot. I do have a third member as of right now that I would love for you to meet. Calypso! The squid, my animal companion, kind of like floats up to the top, eye looking up at you guys and waves a tentacle. That's Calypso. I've had her for quite a while. She's me favorite.
Ah,
Little D looks shocked
That's
and
what
goes, even less interested.
is that what they look like when they don't attach to a person?
Aye.
Ah.
They're quite smooth. I like petting Calypso whenever I have a free time. Reminds me of the good old days. Well, those days are long gone. Well, have you any business to do here in this town before we head off? I'm looking
Yes.
for a place of more magical knowledge.
Oh, we are of like minds, friend.
I assume for different reasons, but I like your spunk. If you wish, you may come aboard, take a look around the ship. Just, of course, don't go into my quarters. That place is off limits unless I invite you in. We have your top deck, and then there's the deck below. That's where the hold is, where our cargo, and where you'd be sleeping. Right above me cabin is the poop deck, where the helm wheel is. That's where either I or hoping I get a fucking helmsman in this match. The helmsman will be steering the ship.
All right.
Well, I would normally say for you to get acquainted with the ropes and the sails, but as you have no sailing experience, I see there's no point in that. Familiarize yourself with the weapons aboard, the ballistas, and the catapults. Ballistas have regular large bolts to fire, harpoons. Catapult has normal rocks and some pots of pitch to be ignited.
What's the weight shot for the catapult?
Whatever rock fits.
No, I mean, what weight can it fire?
Let me see here. Pulling out my book of naval rules, which is just me looking through the naval code.
Got a little book with little like side notes. You can fully tell he's written, or Zeus has written all of these notes himself. Though it does say pirate code at the top of every page.
Well,
all right. It appears. Yeah, no, it doesn't say.
Before departure, there's some things I have to do in town.
Of course. I'll be waiting aboard this vessel to greet, hopefully, any newcomers that Crump brings aboard. I have to pretty much give a similar spiel to them as I to you, except a bit more technical in terms of sailing. Vigorette, in the hold I do have an alchemist's station, if you wish to get acquainted with that. I do mix some salves and balms here and there, and you seem to be one who knows their way around a bottle or two.
Aye.
Dudes, do you require assistance?
No, I'll be fine, thank you.
Alright, then I shall stay aboard and acquaint myself with the layout and placement of the ship.
Little D kind of starts to back away as he kind of turns, right before he kind of stops halfway and goes, "Oh, I'm gonna go let Cloudy and Biggie know to join you lot. I guess good luck, good fortunes, and if you see a guy named Daka, can you tell him his son is looking for him?"
I'm gonna hand my 2 anti-pheromone grenades to Little D.
Mm-hmm.
If you get cornered by those things, those Thri-Kreen, use these. It will disrupt their communications and give you a better chance of survival. I still feel that I owe you for getting me out of that situation. So stay alive so I can repay the debt.
He nods as he takes the bags and kind of puts them into his pack and goes, "I'm not going to promise I'm going to live, but I've been better off than my father is, after the stories I've heard. I good at running. As he kind of smiles at you with that. As
I give the Spormian equivalent to a smile.
He kind of nods and turns and starts to walk up the street. The dog seems to follow you lot aboard the ship without concern. As Little D heads towards town, Doots, you said you're going to also head towards town?
Yeah.
For the time being? Okay. And the rest of the party is heading aboard the ship for the time being, waiting? Familiarizing themselves?
I'm going to...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to ask the captain if there's any, outstanding damage on the ship.
No.
Any...
I will actually specifically note, as you look about the ship, it is very clear that the ship has been repaired, probably recently within the last year, as there are chunks of the wood on the inside that you can see they're polished, but they're it looks like fresh wood polish on it. You can definitely tell they're newer boards that were done for a patch job. This ship, as you can pretty clearly tell, went through some very heavy damage prior to being rebuilt.
Okay.
She's seaworthy, but she's definitely not in her finest condition. I patched her up.
I will set
best
about
we
immune.
could. But yes,
Alright.
if to bring her back up to what she needed to be, I need to do replacing with new boards instead of what is currently here. She's definitely not as strong as other ships of her class, that's for sure. But she's mine nonetheless.
I nod. And, one moment, please. I'm looking up a spell that I have, because technically ships are constructs. So, I need to see the specific wording on this thing.
The nice thing is I don't have to bring this ship out of water to get rid of barnacles. I have lips.
Ah. Yay, let's go. It just works like that. All right. Yeah, I just kind of, after you say that it's not it's seaworthy, but it's not at its best condition, I'm gonna place my hands over the deck, and with my metal hand, I make an arcane gesture, and then push it palm down onto the wood, and I'm going to cast Repair Serious Damage, which repairs 3d8 plus 6 to a construct.
Okay.
Which the ship is.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know if that would work because it's not exactly the ship was damaged, it's just the wood is aged.
Yeah, I will say the only difference that seems to change is you notice the wood on the where the wood looks like it had separated and had been cleanly cut to kind of replace seems to mold a bit more cleanly, making it almost as if it was one now solid piece of wood. So while there's not really much of a change in the immediate, it just seems to make it more look like a salt, like it was all done in one piece rather than a repair job. Though it's still clear where the newer and fresher stain is compared to the older. Technically, the ship is at full health, so it is fully repaired.
Yeah, I just
couldn't hurt.
Yeah, I just wanted to show that the choice of making me the boatswain, very good. Just displaying that I can not only repair it manually but also magically.
It's all good that you did that. You proved yourself. But, that's a large piece of wood.
Yeah. I will only get better with time.
No,
and I will...
It's not that you did a bad job, that's... Just try not to make them all connect like that. With a moving vessel like this, things move around. I don't want a large, broken piece of wood that can't be replaced.
I assure you, nothing that I do will compromise the vessel's integrity. It will be only an improvement to whatever you need it to do. I know.
As you hear the sounds above of Wara kind of moving about. Wara, as you look and see the ammo, I assume you're back now, or no? Nope, still not. All right, cool. Never mind. Ignore me then. As you hear these sounds in the background, Azuris, there begins to be a grumbling, a distant couple of shouts, as you can see Crump being chased out with a small group of around 20 trolls, as there seems to be an uproar and yelling going on coming from the town, as he starts kind of like running on all fours, the trolls seemingly sprinting behind him at the best that they can.
Hi, Crump! What are you bringing here?
I got us the best crew that could be asked for, but some idiot decided to kill someone and now they think it's me. Because I look just that great, and I told them so. He's like, you can see he is not doing well running. Barely managing to keep pace with the trolls who are almost, while they're booking it, they don't look like they're all sweating at the speed, trying to kind of keep Crump surrounded to a certain degree. As he comes running up, climbing up the side of the anchor, the trolls, about 20 of them seemingly kind of slowly climbing up as the pitchforks and fire or little torches of the dragonkin, kobolds, and what looks to be some trolls kind of stops at the cliff, or not cliffside but hillside, that kind of just is far enough to where they're staring at you and gives them a vision of the ship as they wait and watch. Crump climbs aboard as they kind of stand and goes, There's a snowbeard in town. He decided to murder some two idiots, some bards that were hanging out at the inn. They said it was me. That's because, of course, I'm such a great singer and I'm so good looking. They said it must be me. They say you look like a bard. Apparently, he didn't do a very good job covering his tracks. They all saw him. I ain't a racist against short people.
That's unfortunate. I'll turn my attention to this mob here. What brings you to my vessel? What business have you?
The few trolls that are kind of crawling onto the ship, you see one of them kind of looks up and goes, The cat promised us employment if we came. The crowd behind us is just mad because, well, he looks like a snowbeard, apparently.
They think him? A snowbeard?
I'm back.
Oh, welcome back, Wara. As you kind of standing over by the catapult, seeing each of the rocks weighs about 25 pounds apiece. Kind of looking over, you see as Azuris is kind of looking over the edge at a mob that's kind of towards town, a little bit raised up from the hill that kind of goes over, or that kind of follows the road towards town. That all have pitchforks, torches, and seem to be kind of like quietly now standing, though a little bit of whispers can be heard from even from this far away. And now another group of about 20 trolls who are trying to climb onto the anchor, following the little cat that is Crump.
Well, for all you who wish to sign on, come aboard. Any of ye who wish to do harm to me crew, I'll drown ye myself.
Kind of takes a second.
And the crowd is all trolls?
The crowd with pitchforks and torches are a mix of dragonkin, trolls, kobolds, and a couple of intermittent races that seem to be merchants of some sort. As the few trolls kind of climbing on to the anchor one looks up and goes, "Hey, so you'll take us aboard and get us out of here before those bugs get and bite us?"
Of course, if you're willing to put in a hard day's work aboard this ship, you can go anywhere you want with me. Tell me, though. Alright, let me take care of this mob first.
They start climbing aboard.
Alright. What about the angry rabble?
They seem to be kind of standing. There is someone kind of pushed forward. You see a large red troll kind of getting shoved forward who looks very hesitant and does not look like they want to be here. Doots isn't there. Vicaret, you're below right now. So, yeah, as you all look on, yeah, go ahead.
I'd be heading up. I would be heading up top if I hear a commotion.
Okay.
So
You do hear or you do see the large fiery red troll kind of catching and kind of clocking the fact that this is the similar one you've seen kind of walking about the camp checking on the trolls. It's not hard to gather this is probably Sen the troll, the Sen the Red, who is leading the army of trolls, who's being kind of pushed forward to the front of the crowd unwillingly.
Making me deal with all the issues.
Are ye be the leader of this band of violent individuals who wish to see my first mate flogged?
Not trying to flog anyone. I don't appreciate calling the people here violent. But from what little I was told and dragged out here at last minute, he's not only lying to the trolls coming on your vessel, but he's also given them false promises. But he also supposedly killed somebody.
From what I've heard, they all say that it was a Snowbeard that killed those people on boat. Those people. Mr. Crump ain't a Snowbeard.
When someone accused him of killing him, he didn't say he didn't do it.
Well, would anybody believe him?
Sen just shrugs. Probably.
Crump, come up here.
Crump kind of starts walks over. Around this time, Sen, you can see someone's kind of making their way through the crowd, kind of shoving through with a sack full of what looks to be of some stuff as they're walking past. You do see Doots, though you remember seeing him at the camp as one of the mercenaries that was hired. Though I don't think you actually met him personally at any point. You just happened to catch his attention. Recognizing a familiar figure as he kind of is pushing through the crowd trying to get past. But as Crump climbs up onto the side of the ship and looks at you and goes, "I am the greatest man alive, and not the man who'd kill. But I do not doubt that my and he kind of strokes his the fur under his chin. Goes, my beard is the greatest of all snowbeards."
See, when he talks like that, what do you think people are gonna think?
Yeah, but anybody with two eyes can tell he ain't a Snowbeard. He has fur all over his body.
How dare you, sir, and your short, tiny self cannot accept my magnanimousness that I would never harm such a lesser creature.
He doesn't talk well to others, but hey, he's consistent.
He looks, you see him like glare up at us.
He's a consistent gentleman. And, well, I like consistent. I can always trust Crump to be Crump. And what I know of him is he would never just kill some folk out of nowhere.
I totally could. I've done it before and I'll do it again. As he kind of like pulls out a little dagger and like waves it around.
You've never killed someone out of the blue before, Crump.
He kind of just glares at you.
He seems to think otherwise.
Are you sure that's thinking?
You see a pause, he looks over at Vicaret and then looks back out to the crowd and goes, I'm gonna kill them all! He starts kind of like climbing onto the chain to go to climb down
Crump,
the anchor.
get back into the hold.
Oh!
I am going back into the hold! He turns and goes walking down. You hear a couple slashing marks as he stabs something. Go ahead, dudes.
I was just joking around. It's like, Mr. President, get down.
He holds up a fist dramatically for no reason.
Yeah. I am a martyr. I have lost this day, but tomorrow we'll win the war.
I'm sorry if Mr. Crump may have caused some uproar, but I assure you he's definitely not the one who'd killed those folk.
I'm gonna wave the others to head back, because standing here isn't really doing anything.
I start. Yeah, the most of the people seem to start to kind of giving up and kind of walking away. Dudes continues just to stand right next to you as he's kind of watching this exchange.
Is this one of yours?
Aye. Well, technically on land I'm one of his, but yes, he is now part of the same crew.
I just put a hand on Dutes's back and just push him forward.
Aye, welcome aboard, dudes. Have you finished your duties in town? How are those two folk that you were looking to get?
Unfortunately, I think they were the ones that were stabbed.
Ah, well, I'm certainly sorry to hear that. But there ain't no time for grief. We've got a ship to prepare to sail.
Does that mean you saw the killer? As I stare at you.
No. I was in the market buying parchment paper and rations. I'm only seeing what I heard.
I'm gonna
Yeah. Go ahead, Vicaret.
reach out telepathically to Sen, because now that I've seen him, I can do that. And I'm gonna say, "You are Sen of the Trolls."
You hear this in your head, son.
I just stare at Vic and I just go, "Don't talk in my head."
As you wish, I say out loud. Your enemies, the Hive. I can transmit a lot of data about them, a lot of information telepathically, but if you do not want it, that is fine. They are weak to sonic. They don't like thunder and noise. It bothers them. And strong enough sense can disrupt their communications.
You'll just see Sen shake his head and say, "They won't be our problem for long. We're leaving the continent within the next day or so. We just don't have the numbers anymore."
For now. If you...
No, forever. We're not coming back. We're resettling. A nation's already accepted us.
And where might you be settling?
Out of game, I just stare at dudes. He was already told. However, in the tavern, the Meijing clan, the cat folk, if you will.
I believe Crump is from that area. Well, maybe not that clan, but...
Crump looks Cat pops his head out of the bottom of the cargo and on the base of the stairs and looks out and goes, "The Crump family is from the Meijing clans. We are a prominent member of the Meijing clan, a minor right side of the clan that is unfortunately unwelcomed amongst Terrasius' court, but I believe that now that I'm establishing my merchant connections, soon we will change that. Soon we will be the ones to run the clans."
Crump, obviously you're not allowed because your family was just too wonderful, weren't you?
It's true. My father was a kind and generous man as he enslaved those poor gloom and put them to work on the farm to make us wealthy. It was a good time. They loved the work. They were excited about the work.
Alright, now get back to work.
Oh, you glare as he kind of walks up. You can see he's not breaking eye contact as he disappears down the stairs.
Sen's face sours when he hears that he's from there and goes, "Maybe Greg will accept us instead."
Like instead, his family's kind of estranged from the territory. I think he'd be fine. I wish you luck on your travels and safe journeys.
If you ever change your mind and wish to break one of these hives, let me know. I would like to help.
Do you know how long it takes a troll to mature for a whole generation? We're not going to have numbers like that for probably hundreds of years.
If you're alive, then reach out. I say, with just very flatly.
Yeah, no.
I'm glad I didn't make you charismatic or all aboard this vessel, that's for sure.
Sen just sighs and says, "Well, anyway, if no one here killed them, I have work to do. Now, if you won't mind me, I'm going to run very fast to catch up to my men. And I will kick off the ground and start sprinting back towards the city."
Okay.
Alright. And now... Alright, all you members who wish to join the crew, line up outside of the captain's quarters, and I will bring you in one at a time to discuss What he be doing?
They seem to one by one willingly go over and go and seem to kind of stand up, looking at you. They almost all range from a mix of very tall to very short, but most of them look to be normal trolls. Nothing seemingly unique about any of them, though you do notice that most of them are wearing patched up leather work.
Mm-hmm. They'll be perfectly fine for just basic crew.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And essentially all this, them coming into the crew is essentially my quarters is just so I can get them one-on-one telling me, tell me, what do you wish for?
Yep. As you do so, apologies, I'm grabbing something for you as well in the background. That's why you're getting PM'd so much.
Yeah.
As you do so, you find that most of them seem to just want to escape. Getting off this continent and starting new lives. Almost all of them seem to be interested in that. A very vague pact, the kind you especially enjoy, as you manage to convince them all to sign on for an exciting life, to enjoy and see the world without the threat of being eaten or killed, within means, of course.
With all of these gentlemen who are wishing just to escape and have an exciting life, since it ain't anything too crazy, 5 years of service.
Okay.
Of course, with their 1 shares each. Because, I want them to at least not absolutely despise their time.
I will say something that catches your attention is that this group all seem to be of a merchant company, though they won't say the name. They all have sailing experience, surprisingly.
Oh, I'm definitely glad to have all these gentlemen aboard.
They sign on, though.
And every shake of the hand, another pact made.
As one by one you make these deals kind of in the captain's quarters, the rest of you are kind of able to make yourself comfortable amongst the rooms. Room. Heading down below deck, being able to find a cot for yourself in a literal sense. That is crammed in here for cargo. There are a couple of empty boxes and barrels that are kind of set aside already for the crew and for shipping. There is enough room for hammocks and bunks, but it is close living from what you all can tell. The alchemist station that's been set up, if I understood correct, is also stationed in the cargo section where you all will be sleeping.
Mm-hmm. It'll be a lot
claim a
closer
top
to...
bunk.
It'll essentially be the alchemist's table will be relatively closer to the captain's quarters, kind of like on the wall outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it'd be the place where, I would want to be doing my stuff too, close to my space.
Yep, okay. As you lot kind of gather about, you hear as Azurus gives a shout or a call for the group, a lot of you to join him in the captain's quarters as he lays out the map, kind of setting out about 8 maps in front of you. Do you want me to just post them into the chat for you,
yeah,
Hunter?
go for it.
Alright. Let me go ahead. It's going to take a minute because I just closed all that.
And I claim a top bunk closest to the stairs.
Okay. As you do so, give me a second. I just need a moment to find my fucking tags. Don't you just love it when you tag everything with numbers and then you can't find it? There we go.
All right.
As Azur sets out a bunch of laid out maps, Vicaret, these maps do look different from the ones you were familiar with that were being used by the trolls when you saw the few. This looks to be almost a bit of a newer and more updated, although these don't seem to magically update like you saw the others do. As these are actually just pieces of actual map or papyrus with ink laid out on it, not yet magical from what you can tell.
These maps
I'll work on that eventually. Project.
cost me a pretty penny, especially the ones that show country borders. I never really have to change the landscape ones, but man, this is with a time of so many countries going to war. Keeping the borders updated is quite the expense. But only the finest for me and my crew. So this is what we have. Of course, I plan on going to one of the larger Toth cities to investigate something with Azorus will tap his necklace to see something about if I can find anything about this. But I really have no pathway forward at the time being. Besides that, if ye have any recommendations or a course forward, I am all ears.
And I'm going to point out where my mother's hive is and say, I do not want to be within 50 miles of this place.
As you point to what looks to be an empty portion of the Thrycreen territory that is marked as an abandoned and an area for like a no-go zone for all adventurers due to the danger of the creatures in it. You clearly see even the Thrycreen don't have hives around it, though they do seem to be slowly starting to surround it. It looks to be almost a no-go zone amongst their own people. I will also note, Azurus, as for your own notes, the map you have for the current continent that you're on, which is the one with the Thrycreen and such, is outdated. Again, that one has not been released from what you would know.
Yes, because I
The
know
one with
a
the
lot
bright
of...
green on it. Is that Seji's lands?
Yeah, Seji's lands, from what you'd already know, would roughly have heard, have been considered lost. His kingdom is almost outright considered broken, as no one's been able to find Seji.
Yeah, if anything, I have... since I'm not going to buy a new map for that, I would have just crossed out... I would have essentially taken the color similar to what the Grand Hive Collective was and kind of just scribbled over Seji's land to kind of like be like, yep, that's just all Thrycreen territory.
Yep. Marking a no-go zone, basically.
Yep. I'll be honest with you, Vic. I ain't be going anywhere near them bugs for a long time, unless I'm going off the coast and firing barrages of hellfire into their territory. I have no use for them. They have no vessels, no loot worth me going on land for. Nor do I have any reason to go into the seas between Zebral's land and the Thrycreen. Not many vessels travel through that area.
Crump kind of looks up at that and goes, no, Zebral's it says he's smart as all hell. Grand big-ass brain, but I tell you, the Crump family's much smarter. You don't want to deal with him if you're afraid of him.
You know, that may be true, Crump, but you can't be smart if they eat your brains out. So we will still stay away from them. Kind
of looks at you as his eyes kind of narrow and goes, oh, as you hear under his breath, he goes, when I was there, they seemed to avoid me like I was poison.
It's because he doesn't have a brain.
You see him kind of whittling away in a thought. Goes,
bro, not even the intellect devourers went to him.
That's just fucking... He's like celery to them. He costs them more calories than they give them.
Yeah, right.
Not by them eating, just him being around them does that. It's like, oh man, I'm very hungry suddenly.
I look closely at the map of Seji's lands, and I ask about a town. Hold on.
The unmarked town.
So, Azurus, have you ever heard of a place called Harimpersur?
As you look at the map, you look over towards where the Frost Giant territories are at, kind of looking on the large continent. You do see clearly the design of Harimpersur's last hold.
I know of that city war, but that is not in the land of Seji. That is in Utham's territory, down in the south. South of the Pavel Kingdom. They're surrounded by the Collective and the Dukedom of the Brightwing.
Well, if we ever go there, I'd be interested.
I have no opposition to head over to any territory. Of course, I do not intend on firing upon any naval vessels, at least one that sails under a crown or a nation. Those get quite dangerous. But rest assured that common merchant vessels will be ripe for the taking. I usually have Calypso go out and scout said vessels to see what their capabilities are. Ah, one other thing. Vicarette.
Yes.
So there are some, as we would say, ammunition that is quite expensive for me to purchase, and I would greatly appreciate if you could make some, if ever you have the time. And I will pull out a screaming bolt.
All right. Send me the link to the magic item page, and I'll see if I can make it or something better.
Yes. I'll send it to you.
It's the whole
So
thing
it's-
about artificers is that we take what already exists and then we go, but what if I did this instead?
Let's see. So yeah, the screaming bolt is essentially, let's see, it's a bolt, of course, but it's a +2 bolt that screams when fired, forcing all enemies of the that are like 20 feet of the path of the bolt to succeed like a will save or become shaken. Which is kind of
Ooh.
like, a nice little tactic of firing them over near enemy ships to get them fucking terrified. Fear tactics and all that.
Hmm.
Uh,
When you hand me the screaming bolt after like a minute of staring at it, and after you tell me the name, I say, "Oh, you wish to take them alive. I understand."
no, it's not that I wish to take him alive. I just wish for as little damage as possible to potential goods aboard their ship and my own. Being able to take a vessel without a fight is probably the best course of action. Because I'd rather not sink
Alright.
my prize.
All right. I can make a few of these.
Of course not now. I'm a bit dry on funds, and I would not ask you to take out of your own pocket.
I nod. How many of them do you have, and how many do you need to take a ship, by your estimation?
I only have 2. And to be fair, it's usually kind of a 1 bolt per ship type of deal. Or if they don't get scared, what's the point of sending another? If they do not wish to surrender, then a fight will commence.
All right.
Anyways, so, do we have a heading? Where do we wish to go?
Utham's lands?
Have you a business there, besides that just being the person who you work for?
I have a slight mission there that I could investigate. And being part of the Cryptic Kabal now, I hope that we can all come together and work on this mission together.
Is there magical knowledge there?
I believe there is a school there now. At least in their main city. Actually, no, there's a college in one of their news towns, I believe.
It could be worth showing up there, just so that way I could get some research done or some resources under my belt for my own project.
Well, then hopefully, if we go there, we'll be able to find out some. I'll be able to find some information about my own item. So, are we on a consensus? Mr. Dukes, have you any quarrel with going to the land of Utham?
I have no quarrel with going to Utham's lands. I just hope everyone is properly prepared for it. If I recall correctly, Utham's lands isn't exactly the most temperate.
I mean, they're frost giants, not Mr. Dukes. What do you expect? A vacation in the tropics?
I'm
Yes,
sure
it
would
can
be
get
nice.
chilly, but closer to the coast, it's slightly more temperate.
Then to Utho's lands we shall go.
All right, everybody out. Time to make some orders.
You see Crump kind of sighs and goes, back to work again. No honey buns, no bagels, no nothing, no muffins. This is the worst kind of working environment. Why? I might as well be a slave. You
I
see
should
it.
stop paying you, Crump.
You weren't paying me in the first place enough to live off of. 5 gold pieces a day is nowhere near enough.
You living, ain't ya?
I ain't eating enough.
You eat more than enough. You've been for the past month. You've been eating all 15 servings out of 1 box.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm growing.
No, you ain't. You're a grown man. You get 1 person's rations now. We've got a crew to feed.
You hear an even angrier sigh as the glare comes back as he walks away. As you lot kind of start to disperse with the heading that you have, it's going to be by sea roughly a year's journey. That's with good seas, Azuris, just by what you're plotting out. We're gonna have you roll for, let's see, do you have proficient sailing?
I sure do.
Perfect, let's use that. We're gonna see.
Could you, a captain with no profession sailor?
Listen, you never know.
That would be a 24.
With a 24, alright. Now, before you all are going to be heading off on this journey, I want to ask, do any of you have anything last minute that you want to do while you're in this town before you take off? Because assumedly, Azuris isn't going to, shove you all off, immediately from there. So I'm going to give you an opportunity here. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to buy as much magical resources as I can, so that way I can make items during the year downtime and conduct research.
Okay, let me pull up my list for this. For the only, unfortunately for magic materials, you're very short. There's, in total, if we're talking as far as what you know of magic material, is about 10,000 gold pieces worth of calorium. That's it.
Done. Buying it. All of it.
Alright. Yeah.
The 10,000 pieces you just got, right? Actually, wouldn't you have been paid in 10,000 pieces of calorium?
No, they got gold for their payment. Calorium is a little bit more rare. Yeah, alright. So yeah, as you exchange that, I will say beyond that, there are a few magic items here and there, but the shops are charging almost 100 times the base cost because they know they can. And I'm talking, you're looking at
robbery.
You're looking at like a +1 sling that would normally cost you maybe 200-300 gold pieces. They're asking 300,000 for it, with a full straight face and no concern. Many of the shops don't seem to offer much else as you go about looking. Now, I do have a question because you said now. Are you specifying just magical materials? Because there is a shop owner in town named Zakar the Prophet that does sell individuals that are capable in magic.
Yeah, I'll buy any of them that seem crafty. If I can get a cohort from this would be pretty good.
Roll me a diplomacy. And we're gonna roll to see what you get if you roll well enough. Or if you're willing to pay for it.
Yeah. Alright. Do. Come on, Vicky, where's your sheet? Do. I don't think I'm actually pretty good. I don't think my diplomacy is too good. It's not bad. It's just not great.
Also, I want
Let's
to
see.
make it all clear that when
Yeah, I didn't do great.
Would you roll?
An 8.
8.
So I only have,
Oof. Okay.
yeah, I have a charisma mod of 4, so I'm like
That's not bad.
generally like I'm likable, but I have no skill.
That's fair. As you go into town, kind of asking about, there is an individual that catches your attention that does have a sign for 1,000 gold piece on them. It is a black scaled dragonkin. Their wings look to be kind of torn and like almost shredded to the point where there's only stumps left. They look to be male, standing about 6 feet in height. A bit of a longer nose and face overall, and their scales are darker than obsidian, from what you can tell. Going about, their sign does list them as a sorcerer and someone who has a bloodline, though it is unidentified. But it is noted as it does bite and does not listen to commands.
Yeah, no thanks.
Okay.
As much as like it bites and does not listen to commands is like I can appreciate the you
rebellion.
said 1,000 gold pieces?
Yeah, 1,000
It's
gold
just creepy,
pieces.
that's all.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll pony up the 1,000 gold pieces, and then I'll walk the guy away from the. I'll like have him come with me just away from the guy who sold him and tell him to fuck off.
All right, as you kind of
And then
take him,
leave.
as you take him to the edge of town and kind of like look at him and just kind of like shoo him away. He kind of looks at you for a moment and then kind of smiles, and he goes, as his eyes begin to glimmer now from black to green. He goes, "I will remember this. In the case that you ever need a savior, just speak of Belf the Board, and I will return to help." As he kind of looks at you and gives you a nod, and starts to kind of jog off and run into the woods.
I'm glad I can make other people have problems. I don't know whose problem that man is going to be, but I feel like he's going to be someone's problem, and that amuses me.
Dude's just got in the distance. Dude's just sees something and passes out. No. All right. Yeah. As you go about town, kind of heading back after this, with your the medal in hand, you kind of return to the ship without issue. Wara, we're gonna kind of go up from there. Is there anything you want to do in town beforehand, before you leave?
Yes. Is there a place selling alcohol?
The inn that you were at, Troll Blues, would have been the closest thing. Gezeron does sell alcohol. Let me pull up my long list of alcohol potions.
I don't want alcohol potions. I want alcohol.
No, I know. Don't worry. I call it alcohol potions because some of these have potion effects. I understand what you're asking for, though. Do you have a preference, or are you down for a random roll?
What you got? That's random, right?
I'm looking
I can't wait for
Go ahead.
rum.
Rum? Okay, let me look.
Or something rum-esque. Like a spirit, but no magical attributes, just a little on the stronger side, where you don't need a whole pint.
Okay. You find a well, you kind of asked the Gezeron about this a few times. Well, here, give me a diplomacy check in the background. Because I want to. That'll tell me what you're getting for pricing.
I can't wait for one of the other parties to end up in this encampment and to try and buy calorium or like magical resources and be like, yeah, some Thrycreen came through and bought it all. And it's like,
Oh, Levitos is gonna want
Yeah,
to talk to you
weird
later
one.
about it. Yeah, no, Levitos is gonna come talk to your party later about this. I guarantee it. 23. All right, Wara, as you pop in, Gezeron hearing this, kind of shakes his head, but as he kind of looks about, he points you over to one of the ends of the or the tavern, where you see a snowbeard with a very short cut beard. It's got speckles of red in it. His skin looks to be a little bit tanner, and he kind of looks up at you with his kind of bluish or blue eyes. And as Jezron kind of points over to him, he goes, "He's got something he'll give away for free. You don't have to pay for it, but it's not magical in any means. It's just no one wants to drink it because of the taste. It's too spicy."
I go over and speak to the person.
As you go to sit down, you recognize he's definitely a snowbeard. He looks to be kind of strangely colored, as they're normally white and like their beards are typically like almost the color of snow, not speckled with red. They don't tan at all. The closest you've ever seen one tan is turned purple from being in the sun too long. Otherwise, they seem to stay almost their very pasty white coloration. But as you kind of go to sit down, he looks up at you and he smiles and he goes, Are you some sort of like mercenaries or something?"
Or something. But I hear that you have alcohol to sell.
He nods and goes, "Yeah, it's my father and I came up with the recipe when we were back home, but bad politics and all, we left, and my father didn't make it, so I'm just trying to get rid of this stuff, to be honest. I've got a job here now, and I'm probably going to go and head with Jezron back to Cryptic to go join with in the Empire. So, if you want it, I mean, I've got a couple of kegs of the stuff. No one seems to be willing to drink the stuff. I added this, it's a spicy, I don't know what you'd call it. I think it's a tree or like a root, but it tastes like, and it kind of, as he describes it, basically it sounds like cinnamon. As he basically describes a very spiced rum, almost perfectly, that he's made. And he goes, yeah, it's everyone who tries it seems to just like run, and the heat is just too much for it. No one can drink more than a shot of it, but it lasts. Shoot, I mean, I've got stuff of it that's lasted almost 20 years now.
May I sample a small piece?
Yeah.
Snifter.
Okay, pulls out a little, or his, what do you call
Flask?
Flask, thank you. I'm like looking at my flask here and trying to remember the term here. Yeah, pulls out a little flask and kind of grabs the top off and pours into it and kind of holds it up to you as he looks at you.
I take the thimble-sized cap and slowly bring it to my nose, smelling it.
It is spicy. You can smell the strong cinnamon coming out of it.
I toss it into my mouth.
Give me a fortitude save. It is still alcohol. Sen is in the background screaming, "Wait, I want to buy this. This is mine," but no. Or as you go begin, or as you kind of take a taste of it, kind of swishing it a bit around your mouth before swallowing, the flame hits you. The alcohol is pleasant as an aftertaste, but you feel the burn on your tongue. You're definitely sure you can dilute this with some water to make it palpable, and would probably be still spicy enough to keep the men from drinking like bottles of this pretty well. It is definitely got that strong taste to it, but the light aftertaste seems to be sweet and almost like a light grape.
And how many kegs do you have of this stuff?
He kind of looks at you for a second and goes, give me a second. I have to check my notes for it. He goes, I have 3-ton casks, a butt, and a quarter that someone was going to order off me but turned it down.
So you have a 3-ton cask, as in 3-ton weight or 3-ton
No,
gallon?
1,000 liters each. So that's 3,000 liters plus another 500 plus another 50. So basically 3,550 if you're for short math. As he kind of looks at you, are you I mean, I figured I saw you guys on the ship. I thought you might know barrels and such. My apologies.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure that we're talking the same. quantities. So you say you have 3,500 liters. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally going through my mind after walking through Azurus' ship.
I have a
Would there
storage capacity of 4,000 pounds.
Right, but going through my mental process, would I think there's enough room for all of this?
As far as it goes, if I remember correctly, isn't that roughly 7,000 rough pounds if you bought all 3,500? Because I think liters are doubled to pounds.
Actually, they're 2.2.
Yeah, so it's a little bit more than
So, okay.
7,000.
Okay, so he doesn't have enough room. So I go, okay, I'll take 1,000 liters off of you.
He goes, a ton? Yeah, I can have it delivered. He kind of looks at you and goes, my family, he kind of smiles and goes, has branded the barrel. If you wouldn't mind, if your crew does like it, feel free to spread the name of the brand. It's the Red Baron Brewery.
Oh, don't worry. We will share the Red Baron Brewery name all over.
Gotta love Captain Morgan.
He kind of looks at you as you say that, like weirdly, and just dismisses it from the drink and kind of leaves it alone. And goes, yeah,
And
I'll have it
I
delivered.
reach into a pouch and I pull out a small sack and lay it in front of him. Here's payment for it.
He kind of looks at it and, how much are you giving him?
250 gold pieces.
250. He kind of takes the gold and looks at it and kind of counts it out and goes, I really appreciate this. I mean, this'll get me out of town. I won't have to work. I can get my own shop set up back in Greg's Martom's territory.
Hey, War, there's always room for him aboard my vessel.
And if you're looking for travel, the ship that I'm traveling on actually has some room left.
Kind of.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. Dude's is getting yelled at. in the distance, sorry, Wire, in the background, you hear two people yelling at Toots. You see two local ladies who are seemingly yelling and fighting over him in the background. But no, as he kind of takes the money, he goes, "Does it pay work? I can cook, but I'm better with most of my stuff just tastes like the alcohol I make."
They could use a cook on board, but I'm pretty sure there's some other jobs as well available that would pay.
He kind of nods and goes,
The only downside is we don't have enough room for all the rest of your brew.
I'll tell you what. If I'm coming with you, I can take it with me. I've got something, we'll call it, as he kind of looks at you a little bit out of the side eye for a second and goes, for now, he kind of holds his hand out and goes, "Name, you can call me Karask."
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Karask. I'm Wara.
And he nods and he goes, I'll definitely climb up. I assume your ship is the only one down there on the river.
Yes, and you'll want to speak to Azurus.
Alright, he nods.
He is the captain.
I hear, I usually hear captains like alcohol being brought to them, so if I imagine if I show up with your shipment, it'll make the meeting go over a little better.
Yes, but do let the crew know that it has been purchased by one of them and not to be touched.
No problem. I'll have it marked on the barrel for you.
Thank you.
He nods.
Well, then I'll meet you there. I need to do a little bit more shopping.
Yeah, as you kind of turn and kind of head back out of the tavern. Yeah, what are you looking for?
I'll PM you on that one.
Okay. Oh, you're just gonna buy some general. Okay, you're looking to buy items. All right. Yeah, if you want to send me a shopping list, I'll let you know what's available and what it'll cost. A car that has. God damn it. Alright, continuing up. As Wara kind of goes about shopping, Azurus, is there anything in town or amongst the camp that you wanted to pick up? Or any information you were trying to gather?
If we're going to Utham's land, then anything I wanted to know about the Toth is not really going to be necessary. I got my hands full showing the crew around the ship.
Okay.
Anything I would put on order to maybe get like a crate of citrus if there is any.
Okay. Fair enough.
Or whatever equivalent in this world is.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 sec here. Okay. Here, I'm gonna send something. Okay. Sorry, there. I had to answer something for Wara. So say that last part again.
Looking for like a crate of like citrus fruits, whether it be lemons or limes or something of that nature.
In town. Okay. Give me a let's just call it a diplomacy check.
Excellent.
As it's about May, so you're gonna see some of the fruits more coming in early. They're gonna be a little bit
25.
25. Okay. With the majority of the citrus fruits kind of young amongst the market as you look about, you do see there are some people who are still selling their leftover winter wares, much of it being honeyed and pickled in honey. It seems to be a common kind of meal that people are buying by like the cupful. A barrel, roughly from what you can tell, would cost you somewhere around about 1,000 gold pieces. With how quickly it's going. The fruit the kind of like discounted fruit that they're tossing aside at this point that you're looking at, it looks to be still young and needing to age a bit more. They're offering for about 5 to 10 gold pieces for a full barrel, which is roughly about, from what you can tell, 10 days worth of rations.
How long would it take for them to mature?
Do you have knowledge nature?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and roll it. Let's see what you got.
This druid should have knowledge nature.
I forgot you're a druid, I'm not gonna lie.
That'll be a 22.
As you look about at the fruits, you'd guess probably another month, maybe at most. But they're probably going to be edible, like without too much sourness to them, within probably another week or two.
All right. Then I'll. And you said how? So it's what 5 to 10 gold pieces for how much?
For about 10 days worth of rations, which means 3 meals a day for 10 days, which is 30 technically rations specifically.
Gotcha. Because I fully intend on this being a nice little treat for my crew.
Yeah.
To put in drinks and whatever to.
Which you could
sweeten it up there.
You could fully do that with 1 to 2. You figure with the amount of crew you have right now.
Yeah. So I'll get 2 of those unripe containers, which would send me back 20 gold pieces.
Yeah. If you don't try to haggle with them, yeah, it'll be 20 gold pieces.
Sounds good.
All right.
Actually,
free.
no, I will haggle.
All right.
Because I'm a penny pinching pirate.
Give me a diplomacy check. Let's see what you got.
Definitely not as good as I would have liked it, but that will be a 13.
Let me see. As you kind of try to haggle with the merchant, he kind of looks at you for a minute and smiles and kind of goes, he kind of nods at you and I think shoves him over, taking the gold and offers for 5 gold pieces.
5 gold pieces it is.
Alright.
Pleasure doing business with you.
He kind of looks at you for a second as you walk away, and you can't help but feel a weird, like the eyes on you, and as you kind of look back again once more, you see a little, like, red, cloth being wrapped around his head that you recognize as Connell's own personal mark for his little followers that seem to be swayed by his speeches.
Good work, Connell.
As you head back to the ship, though. Yeah, kind of.
In a race one day.
Heading back to work amongst your crew. I will say, you do hear some of the trolls are talking about attacking the miners and taking all their money amongst the town. Many of them, being inspired by Connell's words, saying that these Dragonkin are lesser and should be paying them. There's a bit of aggression amongst the town right now that you can feel tension.
I think it's time to not be here anymore. Guess when I get to the ship, I suppose I'll be meeting up with Mr. The Brewer.
All right. Yeah, as you head back to the ship, we'll get to that. Dudes, anything that you wanted to do in town that you haven't already done?
I did a bit of light shopping.
Mm-hmm. It's gotta be roughly a year's worth of travel from what Azurus would have told you.
I would like to acquire some information because while I've, in character, I've met Utham, I've never been to his lands, so I would like to get a little bit of information on what to expect.
Yeah, roll gather info. See what you learn.
Sorry.
You're good. Take your time.
I got a 10.
10. Ooh. As you go about town, or go about the little shopping town, or the little minor town, hearing a couple of the folks talk about it, most of the few people that are willing to talk about Regan Utham seem to mention him as more of a individual who is allied with Greg's martyrdom. Some people seem to speak well of his teachings for medicine, but very little information is passed along. One guy mentions that he was spotted in Seji's retreat recently. However, that he, as you kind of question him more, he says that he heard it from a friend of his friends of his cousin's friend. As he kind of explains it. Not many of the others seem to, or not much of the town seems to know much of the Regan himself. More just general world news, what they speak of.
Okay. Other than that, I don't have enough gold to buy some heavy magic items or anything like that, so
Okay.
I think that'll conclude what I do in town.
No worries.
Yeah.
All right.
God, I have to make you another cloak.
Yep.
Oh God, I have to make cloaks for everyone.
Yeah. As you all kind of head back to the ship one after another, as you guys kind of finally find yourselves gathering after doing your shopping, you see after by the end of the day, as you kind of retire to your areas of the ship to kind of process, plan, think, and figure out what you're gonna do. You hear the sounds of the rumbling and the ground, as well as the ship almost being shaken, but from the land or being kind of banked on the shore, as a large barrel is being rolled down towards you, literally a ton cask.
Is Wara on the ship yet?
Yes, you would all be on the ship at this point.
Alright. Does anybody know why there'd be a large cask of who knows what barreling towards my vessel?
That would be my purchase.
Ah. So you
I just
intend on
quietly
taking
took
up
away
a
the wall,
large
the-
portion of my hold?
It's for a good deal, and I think I might have acquired you another crewman. And I walked down the plank to meet Karask.
Karask, yep. Yep. As you head down, you see as the barrel comes to a stop, Vicaret, Dutz, Azurus, all kind of waiting on the top deck as you kind of come to watch and hear what's going on as you see Wara climb down or head down the plank off the side of the ship and towards the shore. You do kind of hit about up to your knees in water, Wara, as you kind of come down, as the ship isn't close enough to the edge of the riverbank to not to like keep you out of it. But as you walk over, you see as the ton cask kind of comes to a stop and kind of spins as the tiny rather 3 foot tall dwarf, kind of with a very close cropped beard, still looking almost like he is just now starting to grow it out, kind of smiles over at all of you as he does so and goes, "Hey, name's Karask. I hear you lot are looking for some Red Baron ale."
Actually, have I ever heard of this type of brew? I assume not.
Roll
like a new
me
thing on
a knowledge local.
I wouldn't have that. I'm sorry.
Do you have knowledge nobility?
No. No.
Then give me an intelligence check.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. 19.
19. As you go, or as you kind of take a second to think about this guy for a moment, the term Red Baron kind of strikes you. You've heard about this gentleman in many a cove, the few that exist around the areas where smugglers will go and do business with legitimate, in air quotes, merchants.
I'm very familiar with these kinds of legitimate workings.
Red Baron Ale is noted to be roughly somewhere around 10,000 gold pieces for a quarter, or for a quart cask, meaning about 500 liters. It goes for a lot just due to the fact that it's considered a liquid of bravery amongst sailors, merchants, noblemen. It's just really hard to find because no one's been able to figure out who the people are that make it. The clan is supposedly completely unknown from what you would know amongst your travels.
So.
Quickly speak to Karast. I don't
Laura,
know if we can fit that cask in there. Can you make it smaller?
Oh, of course. I wouldn't bring my own personal belongings with me if it was just of this size. Here, one sec. As you see him kind of pat it down with the gauntlets he's wearing, the barrel kind of starts to shrink down to about medium size, and he goes, "It holds the same space. Just don't pop it open from the top. Only pop it from the corked end. Otherwise, it expands, and then you end up with a hole in your ship."
Laura, is this for you only, or is this for the crew?
This is for all to be maintained by the person in charge of the food and drink aboard.
Krask waves at that comment.
Karas, I would be glad to have you aboard. Since you are a cook, you are above the normal skill level of a crew member. So, I believe you are coming to work for the ship, yes?
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I kind of pass out at the sight of blood, so don't expect much from me in combat.
Trust me, if you are simply working as a cook, and if you wish to help time to time working the sails if need be, that is all I would request of you. I do not need you for combat.
Oh, thank the gods. I had one. That crew got me out here and made me fight. And first time it happened, we got attacked by a giant fish. I cut it. I passed out, fell off the side of the ship. Next thing I know, I'm on the top of trees.
As for how alcohol rations will be working upon the vessel, for everyday drinking of water, to make sure it doesn't go bad, 4 parts water to 1 part distilled liquor, and a ounce ration of hard liquor every day for the sailors. Is that all right?
I can do something with that. I got a brewer's kit in the back. Are we talking dwarven strong, or are you talking giant strong? Because I can do both.
I do not wish for drunkards to be aboard the vessel.
How about we
let's
start
keep
with
them happy.
this cask that I have purchased? How about we start with this one, and we can
If we
vary
need to
what
lessen
we're
the
looking
amount,
for
then
from
we
there.
will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He nods.
Well, I am very happy to have you aboard. As it comes to when you'll be paid, as we are traveling, we hope to take prizes in terms of other merchants we come across. When we get to port and sell off our goods, we will then be distributing the cash to.
I'll be honest. I'm not interested in being paid. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love some money set aside for ingredients, but as long as I can get some rare fruits and such that I can study and put into the brew, and someone's willing to try to drink it, shoot, you got me as far as the hire goes. I got my father's passed away just on that in the battlefield. I ain't got no tie here.
Well, I just purchased some unripened fruits. I do not
So do with it as you will, whether it be a garnish or something to include in your brews. They should be edible in about a week, fully ripe within a month.
He nods and goes, if that's the case, that works for me. But I'm talking more exotic stuff. I've only seen some of the fruits of my homeland, and then the very few that I've managed to gain are here. So.
Well, let us hope that any merchant vessels we come across have some exotic fruits, and perhaps any deserted islands we come across might have something that you might covet.
He nods and goes, all right. What do you want me to do with the 3 other kegs I've got?
I try to lift up the one he turned to a medium keg.
How much can you lift? Because it still weighs that 1,000 pounds is still 2,200 pounds.
Like I said,
man, we got liquor to bring aboard.
I can only lift 50 pounds. Well, actually, 116.
As you go to try and pick it up, yeah, it's heavy, Wara. You're struggling with it.
Karask, apparently you were the man in charge of lifting and moving the alcohol.
No worries.
I can't lift it. That's why I was rolling it. He kind of like moves it, starts rolling, getting it's moving again in the sand as it kind of takes a minute to push. But
worry not. We have cranes for taking care of large bits of
cargo
stuff.
I guess I can shrink it to small, but it gets heavier at that point.
No worries. And of course, again, shouting to the sailors, we've got liquor to bring aboard!
Trolls are rushing aboard, grabbing towards the hook and getting it moving as they kind of start sending it down. You see Kress kind of stands down there with kind of having Wara help him hold it in the little bit of water that's kind of passing by so it doesn't float away. The weight is keeping it sunk. It's still like shifting side to side and kind of causing the two of you to move.
As we're in the water, Calypso comes up and I'm just, patting Calypso. My dear squid.
As you do this, you watch the trolls get it attached with as Warren kind of gets it down, gets the hook on there, and they start to pull, winding it up. It takes about 3 of them to start to wind the thing around to get it to pull. But as it takes a bit, they manage to, as you watch Karas kind of comes aboard with Wara. And immediately looks at you, kind of smiling, kind of coming to attention, and goes, alright, tonight's menu is, something that's chewy and probably edible.
Alright, we do have 2 provision boxes, so take any ingredients out of there as you may need to feed the crew. I'll leave you to it.
No fish.
Calypso, I need you
I will
to
show him where the kitchen is.
Okay.
Calypso, I need you to go a little bit ahead of the vessel. Get me out of these riverous waters.
As the anchor kind of starts to pull aboard, Calypso starts to pull the ship back out to sea.
Not pull the ship, but no. Just because we can know each other like that. Communication. Just, making sure I don't run to sandbars. And
okay. So you're having her follow. Oh, you're following her trace. Okay. Yeah. As you have her start to kind of turn and follow, kind of swim out towards the back towards the bay, the ship begins to slightly turn. It isn't comfortable in any way as you get to a point. Thankfully, with your profession, sailor, that as you come on your side, turn to the side, trying to get the reorient the ship, waiting until the river seems to splash in, giving you enough of a push so you feel the ship turn quickly, avoiding it capsizing. The ship turns and seems to follow in line quite quickly out to sea as you lot start to head out. We have a year of downtime between now and Grim Purser's last hold. However, with the sailor role, I want to ask, Azurus, on your journey, you will see roughly about, on your track, about 6 ships, 2 of which you'd note as 4-deckers with 2 decks full of what looks to be heavy bronze and copper cannon-like things that you recognize as spell cannons. One that you'd recognize as a smaller sloop, like ship for that you'd recognize the flag of a small kobold pirate crew. And the last one you recognize as a merchant vessel of about a 3-decker that has no cannons from what you can tell, but seems to have 4 masts on it and is looking to be in the wind. Will any of those kind of interest you?
Yes. So just go through it all again. We've got 2 warships, a sloop,
Mm-hmm.
and a
Pirate
merchant
sloop
vessel.
and a merchant vessel, yep.
That's 4. You said there were 6.
Sorry. Yes, I'm looking at my note. I'm looking at something else here as well. The other 2 that you see is you see the Golden Heart Merchant Company ship going through that looks to match yours in shape. However, quite smaller. As it looks to actually be a couch designed for medium creatures. It is the Golden Heart being a noted merchant company. The last one looks to be a religious vessel, as you recognize holy symbols and people in cloth kind of aboard.
Gotcha.
You can choose to decide by next session, or you can choose to
Yeah,
make
by
a-
next session, I would
Okay.
like to choose. I don't want to do anything now.
As you all kind of begin the journey, heading out into the ocean, beginning to kind of settle in for the long journey ahead, taking hold of the helm. Huh?
I want to do something cool as soon as we get out. I'll be like, I'll essentially do a pirate of equivalent of hold my beer, watch this, and I'll cast Submerge Ship.
All right. As you all kind of watch, head below deck, relaxing, enjoying the smell of the alcohol and the cooking kind of being handed out. The crew seemingly kind of going about their what they need to do. Some heading above deck. As you suddenly hear the sounds of the waves getting louder. And then a couple of the trolls screaming as the ship begins to almost look like it's taking on water for a moment, as you see water begins to flow over the top. As you head above deck, almost this weird air-like sheen covers all of you. As you go underwater, hearing Azur's laugh, heavy laugh that seems to almost be drowned out by the water. You lot begin to travel underneath the surface of the sea. Kind of watching the deeper fish that swim below and seeing the heavy and dark islands that seem to go on and on below. The occasional glimmer of light at night as the darkness kind of takes over. You can see what looks to be little stars at the bottom of the ocean as the ships continue as the ship continues through. But with that, we're gonna end today's session with the party getting 12 months of downtime and coming back. To Harim Purser's last hold, or at least thereabouts. We thank you all for watching.
Okay.
We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you all next time.